So overall, 4 it really isn't that bad. It's pretty good. So then we move on to Treehouse of Horror 5. And this is probably the best Treehouse of Horror that's ever been done. I think it's really, really good. And the first segment is The Shining, which is a parody of The Shining. And the Simpsons go to Mr. Burns' mansion and become its caretakers. And Burns cuts the cable television wire and removes the beer. And he believes that will make it hard work from the family. And Smith is like, "Sir, did you ever stop to think that maybe it was doing this that caused all the fathers of the families to go insane and murder their families?" Burns is like, perhaps you're right. Tell you what, when we come back and they're all slaughtered, I owe you a Coke." And Homer, of course, uses, Homer goes insane. And Bart is like, groundskeeper Willie is like, "My boy, you've got the shining." "You mean shining. Shh, you want to get sued?" "Now look, boyo." I'm doing a really bad Scottish accent, but I really don't care. But now look, boyo, you just use that shin of yours to call me, and if your dad goes gaga, and just stuff like that. And Homer must kill his family in order to get a beer, and finds the phrase, "no TV and no beer" makes Homer go crazy, and confronts Homer with a baseball bat. But Homer, he sees his reflection in the mirror and just knocks himself unconscious. "Come on, Marge, give me the bat. Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Scaredy cat." Ah! And that's really funny. And Homer, he's actually calmed down, and he happily eats. And Moe shows up with his game of goals, and I think I saw it Freddy Krueger, and I might have saw Pinhead as well. I'm not sure. There was a lot of horror icons in that one. And Homer ends up doing a parody of, and he misses the room like 3 times, and like here's Johnny. There's no one in. Dope. David Letterman. "Hi, David. I'm Grandpa." And then it's like, and Homer does like this 60 minutes thing. Like, "I'm Ed Wallace. I'm Morty something. All this in a room tonight on 60 Minutes. And then Homer ends up going insane and almost kills him. Lisa shows him Willie's television, which he dropped in the snow. And Homer's insanity fades, and the family freezes in the snow. And the Tony Awards begins, and Homer starts to go insane again. And now in the second segment, Time and Punishment, he ends up trying to fix a broken toaster, and he ends up creating a time machine. And the way he goes back in time, "Stupid bug, you go swish now," or something like that. "You swish now," that's it. "But that was just one insignificant mosquito. That can't change the future, right? Right?" So that's very funny. And then he sneezes, and he infects the dinosaurs with a cold virus. And all of them just start falling like dominoes. And he's like, "This is going to cost me." And then, in the present, he's actually pretty pleased. Patty and Selma are dead, and they're not extremely wealthy. The kids are well behaved. And it turns out that donuts apparently don't exist in this timeline. And Marge's like, "Donut? What's a donut?" "Ah! Ah! Ah!" "Oh dear, it's raining again." And donuts are raining from the sky. And it's seriously, and then he goes back in time again and smashes everything in the room. And he finally goes back to the present for the very last time, and he ends up having lizard-like tongues, and decides that's close enough. And that's pretty funny. And then Nightmare Cafeteria, and this is a parody of Soylent Green, and the title is also a reference to Nightmare Cafe, which is I believe it was like a short-lived TV series that Robert Englund of Nightmare on Elm Street fame starred in. But detention hall is getting overcrowded, and lunch lady Doris is being forced to serve grade F meat in the cafeteria. And then Eden misbehaved in children, and Jimbo gets killed as sloppy Jimbos, and Uter is made into a German meal called Uterbraten. Yeah. In fact, you could say we ate Uter, and he's in our stomachs right now. Wait, disregard that. And Bart, Lisa, and Milhouse are among the only students left, and they try to escape, and they seem to fall to their demise. And then Bart wakes up from a nightmare, and he's in his bed. And a mysterious green fog seeps through the window, and they're turned inside out. But they perform like a chorus line, and that's just really dark, but really funny at the same time, which sometimes we're just really good at doing. So overall, that's probably the best Treehouse of Horror of all time. Certainly my favorite as well. So, Treehouse of Horror 6. The first one is Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores. And this one's really good as well. Homer goes to Lad Donuts to get a colossal donut. And upon realizing that the colossal donut is the name of the donut that Lad holds, and that those sizes don't exist, he vows to get a colossal donut. He's like, oh, nuts, that's false advertising. I paid for a colossal donut, and I'm gonna get me a colossal donut. You don't scare us! I'm trying to do my best impression of the squeaky voice scene, but considering that my voice is nowhere near that squeaky, I can't do it. But anyway, Lard and other advertising statues come to life, and they still kill everyone. And so that one's pretty good. Then Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace. This is probably one of my favorite Treehouse of Horror segments. And it's a parody of Nightmare on Elm Street. And groundskeeper Willie is Freddy. And that's pretty funny. And Martin ends up falling asleep and strangled to death by Willie in his dream. And before waking up and dying in the real world. And then Lisa tells Marge about the incident. She explains that Willie burned to death, and then Homer ends up touching the thermostat, which says "Do not raise" or something like that. Do not touch Willie. Good advice. He touches it anyway, and Willie gets caught on fire, and the parents do not do anything. And Willie is on fire right now, and he's like, "Help! Someone, please help me!" Willie, Mr. Van Houten has the floor. And Willie just slowly sits down in a chair. And it's just really funny. So that one was really good. And we have Homer Cubed. And this is supposed to be a parody of the Twilight Zone episode Little Girl Lost. And then Homer looks behind a bookcase, and there is a mysterious new world in which everything is 3D. And that one was, the animation on 3D Homer is actually really cool. And it was just so cool to see something that we'd never really seen before, you know. So, and then he makes a reference to the movie Tron. Has anyone seen the movie Tron? No. Yes, I mean no. And Bart goes in, and Homer falls into like a wormhole, and Homer's gone to a better place, and he lands in a dumpster in a live action Los Angeles or something like that. And he's kind of nervous at the beginning, but then he sees an erotic cake store, and he's going to be all right in this world. So overall, this one was actually a really good one. Just a really, really funny one. So then we move on to Treehouse of Horror 7. And the first segment is The Thing in I. And this is where Bart has a evil twin named Hugo. And this one is okay. And I think they prefer to be Siamese twins. And Lisa's like, I think they prefer to be called conjoined twins. And Dr. Abbott's like, and hillbillies prefer to be called sons of the soil, but it ain't going to happen. So that's a really funny line. And overall, that one's okay. And then the second one, the Genesis Tub. This is a parody of the Twilight Zone episode, The Little People. And Lisa performs a science experiment. And she creates a universe. And Bart pretty much destroys some of the ecosystem. And they regard him as the devil. And that one's okay. It's not that great. Then we have Citizen Kane, where King and Codes are given the star. And it's kind of an odd thing because it kind of sets itself in a very specific time and date. Specifically the 96 election. And they want Earth's leader, but Homer tells them about the election, and the winner could either be Bill Clinton or Bob Dole. So me, Bob Dole. Bob Dole lecture style. That's from Family Guy, not from Simpsons. But the aliens soak him in rum so no one will believe him. Where's the rum? Spanky and G will know what I'm talking about with that line. Where's the rum? But yeah, anyway. So the imposter candidates are seen to be acting just so strangely. And I'm not sure if it's Bill Clinton or Bob Dole. I think it's Bob Dole. I don't know which alien it is, but I think it might be Kang. And he's like, abortions for all. Boo. Abortions for no one. Boo. Abortions for some. Miniature American flags for others. Yay! And they hold hands. This is just hilarious. And Homer tries to say the real Don Clinton, and he ends up killing them. And he successfully reveals their real identities. But King and Codes declare that they have to choose one of them. It's a two-party system, and it's too late to get new candidates. And one man in the crowd announces that he'll vote for a third-party candidate, and he's like, "Go ahead, throw your vote away." And it's just really fun. I love the deliveries of those lines. So overall, Treehouse of Horror 7 it's okay, not that great. And I think the only real good one is Citizen Kang, and that makes up for most of it. And then Treehouse of Horror 8. This is the Omega Man. Probably saying that wrong, but whatever. And this is supposed to be a parody of the Omega Man. And Mayor Quimby generates controversy, and he makes a frog legs joke about France, and they end up launching a neutron bomb directly into Springfield, and Homer ends up being the only man left alive on Earth, at least at first, anyway. So that's pretty funny. And then Fly versus Fly, and this is really funny. Homer buys a Matter teleporter from Professor Frank's yard sale, and Bart asks if he can use it, but Homer refuses. He's like, "No, this is a sophisticated piece of machinery. You make one wrong move, kablamo! Ah, someone hit me in the bathroom. It was your mother." But yeah, and so I think Homer ends up using both of them to try and use the bathroom from the living room. And it's just really funny. And a fly lands on Bart's arm, and Bart grabs the fly and steps into the teleporter. He comes out with his normal head, but with the fly's body, while the fly has his body. And then the fly, Bart with the fly's head is actually pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It's like he's eating like sugar, and Homer tries to grab some sugar from behind him, and he's like, "Arr, arr." And he's like, "Okay, it's your sugar, Bart." But it's just really hilarious, and that's definitely a great one. And in the last segment, Easy Bake Coven, and the town has witnessed the many witch burnings, and they're trying to figure out who to condemn next. And Mo accuses her Marge of being a witch, and it turns out I think she is a witch. And a naturally evil one vows to conquer the entire town, and that one's okay. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's pretty interesting. So overall, Treehouse of Horror 8 is actually really good. I really like that one. So now we go to Treehouse of Horror 9. And this one is awesome. And the couch gag, I really need to mention this one, because that one's really cool. Because Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees are on the couch wondering where the Simpsons are. And Robert Englund actually guest stars as Freddy in that one. I don't get it. They should be here by now. What are you going to do? That one's pretty funny. So the first segment, Hell to Pay. And Snake is arrested for smoking inside the Quickie Mart. And he's executed in accordance with the three strikes law. And Apu, Mo, and Bart are all witnesses, and Snake vows to kill all of them. And Homer visits Dr. Nick, who transplants Snake's hair onto Homer's head. And the hair ends up controlling Homer's brain, and Homer kills Mo and Apu. And Homer ends up ripping the hair off his head. And the hair tries to smother Bart like the face hugger in Alien. And Homer punches his hair, and someone's like, "Ow! Ow! Ow! That's my face, you idiot! Idiot! Why, you little..." And it's just really funny. And the fact that Wiggum can't pronounce Apu's last name. You're arrested for the murders of Mo Sizrak and Apu Nahasa Basa. Mo, just Mo. And then the second one, The Terror of Tiny Toon. And that's the episode title is a parody of The Terror of Tiny Town, which is an old movie from the 30s, which features an all little people cast. And that's a really interesting movie. But anyway, Marge forbids Bart and Lisa from watching the Itchy and Scratchy Halloween special. And she even takes the batteries out of the remote control. And I love the fact that Homer is dressed up as a hobo. And Homer, you're not going as a hobo again. He's like, going where? And it's like, Mama took those batteries. I'm playing a harmonica. Mama took those batteries. Size AA. And they enter the Itchy and Scratchy universe, and Itchy and Scratchy attempt to kill them. And it's just really funny. And then Starship Poopers. And this one involves Kane and Kodos, and pretty much a lot of segments that involve Kane and Kodos are just awesome. And this one is no exception, and Maggie ends up being Kane's daughter. And they end up going on the Jerry Springer show. And Kane vaporizes her and the rest of the audience. And that's pretty funny. So overall, Treehouse of Horror 9 is a really good one. So we move on to Treehouse of Horror 10. So the first segment is I Know What You Diddly Italy Did. And this is a parody of I Know What You Did Last Summer. And the Simpsons are driving down a coastal road. And Homer's like, I don't know what they did before. It was like, we escaped from those vampires or something like that. It was tough escaping from those vampires, but it was worth it to get back our delicious sugar crisp. Can't get enough of that sugar crisp. Homer, did you put the fog lights on? Guess I forgot to put the fog lights in. And I just love that. So Ned, Flanders dies, and Homer attempts to kind of like pretend that Ned is still alive, and it kind of becomes like Weekend at Bernie's, and it's just really funny. And it turns out that he was actually bitten by a werewolf moments before the accident, so that's pretty funny. And then the second one, Desperately Seeking Xena. And then Homer, Bart and Lisa gain superpowers. Bart can stretch and Lisa's super strength. So they become Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl. And with awesome theme music. And later Lucy Lawless, who stresses Xena, addresses fans at a science fiction convention. And comic book guy, as the collector, kidnaps her. And that's really, really funny. And Life's a Glitch, Then You Die. And this one is definitely dated, to say the least, you know. It was definitely a product of the time that it was made, with all the Y2K stuff, you know, going on. So the idea behind this is Y2K ends up happening because Homer forgot to debug one computer and everything just goes insane. And Homer, he fails to bluff his way on board by claiming to be the famous pianist from the movie Shine. And then Homer and Bart end up finding the second unguarded rocket since Lisa brings Marge on where, since for the Genius rocket ship, she's the proofreader. And they notice that the second space liner is filled with really obnoxious and mediocre celebrities. You know, like Pauly Shore, Ross Perot, Courtney Love. It was Al Sharpton. Tom Arnold! Ah! What the hell is going on? And it's just really, really funny. And Homer and Bart decide to die rather than wait. So that's really, really funny. Overall, that one is pretty good as well. Some of it's a bit dated, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So then we move on to Ghost Dad. We move on to Treehouse of Horror 11. And then the first segment is Ghost Dad. And this is a parody of Ghost Dad. And he reads his horoscope. Homer reads his horoscope, and he says that he will die today, and an attractive colleague will compliment him. And when he's like, "That is one handsome rattlesnake on your arm." It's like, yeah, but he'll give up sooner or later. Snakes, nature's quitters. And this one is okay. And Homer attempts to carry Skinner's mother across the street, but ends up dropping her into the street and she dies. And Homer's like, I'm pretty sure she was going to be the next Hitler. that one's okay. And the second one, Scary Tales Can Come True. And this is a fairy tale setting, and it's okay. It's not that great. And then Night of the Dolphin. And this one is revealed where dolphins aren't as cute as they seem to be. Killer dolphins. And that one's pretty funny. So, I'm trying to think what else happens in that one. Did I say killer dolphins? No, I mean killer Italians. Killer intelligent Italians. Intelligent Italians? Something's wrong. And overall, that's just that's a pretty cool one. Overall, this one is pretty cool. So then we move on to Treehouse of Horror 12. And the first segment is Hex in the City. And the gypsy puts a curse on Homer. And the curse takes effect with Marge growing a beard from her blue hair. And at some point, she reminds me of Kathy Bates' character off the current season of American Horror Story. I'm sorry, I had to get that reference in. But Bart's neck becoming long and floppy, you know. And trying to think what else. Maggie becomes a ladybug, but still has a human head. Lenny and Carl crushed by a helicopter. Lisa becoming like a centaur. And Homer ends up using a Lucky Charms cereal as bait and finds Irish Leprechaun. He accidentally ends up using tricks, and a lot of bunnies hop in there. And that one is pretty good. And Bart actually commits suicide in the cereal. And the Gypsy said that apologizing will bring him back. And he's like, she's not the boss of me. And the second one, House of Wax. And this is a parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I was kind of surprised that they didn't already do. But this one has Matthew Perry as three. They have three celebrity voices. One is Matthew Perry. Second, Dennis Miller, whom Lisa and Marge recognize as the voice that caused all those murders, suicides, and Pierce Brosnan. And they picked that one. And the house ends up falling in love with Marge. And that one's pretty good as well. And then we have Whiz Kids, which is a parody of Harry Potter. And then it's pretty good, you know. And Bart ends up he tries to do the spell, and he ends up doing a frog that constantly vomits, and it's just really funny. And it's just really funny. And Bart, you're getting vomit all over my print. Head Zeppelin. And it's just really good. And Mr. Burns is Voldemort. And it's just pretty good. And the epilogue is also great as well. Because Pierce Brosnan, the leprechaun, and the frog exit the trailer. And they criticize Brosnan for being allowed to park so close in the set. And they end up taking him hostage. And that's really funny. Overall, that one's really good. And Treehouse of Horror 13. And that one is pretty good as well. And so Treehouse of Horror 13. And so the first one, Sin and the Clones. Homer has a magic hammock, and it produces all these clones of Homer. And it's pretty funny. It's okay. And the second one is The Fright to Creep and Scare Harms. And they discover the grave of William Bonney, a man who was killed at a young age by gun violence. And he dreamed of a world without guns. So Lisa starts a gun control crusade, and it makes Springfield 100% gun-free. And somehow all the cowboys and all the outlaws end up coming to life. And that one it's an okay one. Then we have the Island of Dr. Hibbert, and all the characters are turned into like animals, and it's really cool to see all the Springfieldians as animals. So overall, that one's alright. Like Treehouse of Horror 13, or I think 13. That one's alright. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. So then we have Treehouse of Horror 14. And then the first one is Reaper Madness. And a death enters the Simpsons house. And it goes on like a Benny Hill style chase. And that's really funny. And he kills him with a bowling ball in revenge for Snowball 1 and President John F. Kennedy. And since no one can die, since death is dead. And then Frankie the Squirrel is getting like shot to pieces. And just cannot die. And Mo attempting to hang himself, and he says, "Oh, I take that to the curb like the trash. Fine, I'll curb him without enthusiasm." And I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, so that was a really good reference. And he puts on the robe, and he inadvertently turned himself into the new Grim Reaper, like the Santa Claus. And overall, that first segment is pretty good. Then Frankenstein, and Professor Frank's dad comes back to life, and he's played by Jerry Lewis. And that one's a really good one as well. And then Stop the World, I Want to Goof Off. And Bart and Milhouse order a stopwatch, and it's basically exactly what you'd expect it to be. So then we get Treehouse of Horror 15. And first one is the Ned Zone. And this is a parody of the Dead Zone. And Flanders gets injured by a bowling ball from the roof. And it's kind of like the Dead Zone. You can see how people are going to die. And that one's okay. And 4 beheadings and a funeral. and this is Eliza Simpson and Dr. Bartley, and this one's really enjoyable. That one's really good. And then the third one, In the Belly of the Boss, and it's a parody of Fantastic Voyage. And it's kind of funny because in a previous Treehouse of Horror one, I think it was Treehouse of Horror 6, Professor Frank kind of proposed a Fantastic Voyage because so they can get Homer out of that world. It's kind of funny that they later ended up doing it. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. So, overall, that Treehouse of Horror, that one's okay. I probably like the Dr. Bartley and that one the best, you know. So, the next one is 16, I believe. Yeah, 16. And we have BI, Artificial Intelligence. And that one is a parody of 2001. No, not 2001. Trying to think. AI. That's it, AI. And that one is pretty good as well. So, Survival of the Fattest. And that one is, okay, it's a parody of The Most Dangerous Game. And that one's okay as well. So then, I've Grown a Costume on Your Face. And this is actually a parody of Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge, of all movies. Like, I really was not expecting them to do a parody of Halloween Town 2. But it's really cool, and it's just really kind of interesting to see. So overall, that one is okay. So then we move on to 17. Okay, I remember this one now. Married to the Blob. This is a parody of The Blob. This one is pretty good, and cracks open to reveal a green gooey substance. It resembles a burned marshmallow, and Homer ends up putting on a stick and devours it. And Homer pretty much becomes a blob and stuff, and it's really funny. And then the second one is You Gotta Know When to Gollum, or Gollum, or however you say it. This one is okay, you know. It's not something that really appeals to me. And the third one is The Day the Earth Looks Stupid, and this centers around the War of the Worlds and King Kodos, and decides that it's the perfect time for a real invasion, and that one's okay. So overall, Treehouse of Horror 18 or 17, I don't know which one I just talked about. That one's okay. So this one, Treehouse of Horror 18, and then E.T. Go Home. I really like this one. And Kodos plays the part of E.T., and this is really funny. And Homer ends up suffocating Kodos with a pillow, and that one's kind of dark as well. And the second one, Mr. and Mrs. Simpson, and this is a parody of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and it's pretty much exactly what you expect it to be. And the third one, Heck House, and this is a parody of Seven, and this one it's okay. It's pretty cool to see, though. And then we have Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 19, and this one I really like. I really like it. And then Untitled Robot parody, and this is a parody of Transformers, and then that one's okay. And the second one, How to Get Ahead in Deadvertising. And two advertising agents, Homer accidentally kills Krusty the Clown, and they want to use celebrities' likenesses in advertising without issues over permission, and they can kill the celebrities who refuse to lend their names. And he kills George Clooney, Prince, Neil Armstrong, stuff like that. And that one's pretty good. And it's the Grand Pumpkin Millhouse. And that one is very funny. That is a dead-on Peanuts parody. So that's just really, really good. So overall, Treehouse of Horror 19 is very good. Probably one of the better latter-day Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes. So then we go to Treehouse of Horror 20. So Dial M for murder or press hashtag to return to the main menu. And this is a parody of Strangers on a Train and Crisscross. And a parody of that one. And that one's okay. And Don't Have a Cow, Mankind. And it's overrun by zombies again. And that one's pretty good as well. And then there's No Business Like Mo Business. And this is a parody of Sweeney Todd. And that one's pretty good as well. So overall, that one's pretty good. And then Treehouse of Horror 21. War and Pieces. This is a parody of Jumanji. And that one's okay. Then we have Master and Cadaver, a parody of Dead Calm. I really don't remember that one. And then Tweenlight. Now I remember this one, and I think Lisa falls in love with a mysterious new student named Edmund. And he's voiced by Daniel Radcliffe of Harry Potter fame. And this one is probably the only good one. I think the only good segment in this episode. Like, the bloodlust is upon me. It has to bite something. And his dad's like Dracula. And that's pretty funny. So overall, that one's okay. But that one last segment kind of saves it. And the first one, the Diving Bell and the Butterball. This is Treehouse of Horror 22. And the Diving Bell and the Butterball, that one's okay. It's not that great. Then Dial D for Diddley. And this is a parody of Dexter. And Flanders becomes a serial killer and vigilante. And he's targeting characters that are homeless enemies. And I think that one was pretty good. Then In the Navi, which is a parody of Avatar. This one I don't really like that much because a lot of entertainment things have done Avatar parodies, and it kind of ran it into the water in some ways. So I'm not a huge fan of that one. So then we had Treehouse of Horror 23. And the first one, The Greatest Story Ever Told. And I don't really remember this one too much. Then Unnormal Activity. This is a Paranormal Activity one. And I remember that one being pretty funny. And then the third one, Bart and Homer's Excellent Adventure. And that one's pretty cool. And it's kind of like a Back to the Future kind of thing. And that one was really good. So that one was a better one than the previous one. Treehouse of Horror 24. And this was back in 2013. And the opening one, Oh, the Places You'll Go. This one's a Dr. Seuss parody, and that one's really good. That one is really, really good, and that one's really funny. And Dead and Shoulders, and that one's okay. It's probably the weakest one out of all of them. And then Freaks, No Geeks. And this is a parody of Freaks, and that was like an old movie. That was really good. And then the very end of it just makes it for me. It just makes it for me. And it's like, and that's how I met your mother. And that one just kind of made it for me. That made me crack up so much. And then finally, the latest one, the one that just came out a couple weeks ago. Treehouse of Horror 25. And then we have the first segment, School is Hell. And Bart finds an Aramaic inscription, and they end up transporting to hell, and Bart excels in the diabolical subjects, and that one is really good. When I first heard about that particular segment, I was like, you know what, I don't really know about this. I don't know if it's even going to be that good, but I was ended up proving wrong, because that ended up being really great. And then the Clockwork Yellow, that one's a parody of Clockwork Orange, and that's really good. And I love how, at the very end of the segment, it ends up, for the most part, it's a parody of A Clockwork Orange. But near the end of it, it just becomes an all-out parody of every Stanley Kubrick film ever made, from 2001 to Shining. I think The Shining. And just Full Metal Jacket, just all stuff like that. So that one was probably my favorite one from the latest one. And then The Others. And this one involves the Tracy Ullman Simpsons, haunting the current Simpsons. And I thought that was really good. I will say, I don't think they did much I really don't think they did everything that they could have done with that one. They did kind of drop a little bit of the ball on that one. So they did kind of drop the ball on a little bit of that one. And I wish they could have done more of it, but overall, it was still a pretty good segment, and it was really enjoyable to kind of see these two interacting. So overall, this one was actually really good. This one was a big improvement upon previous Treehouse Horrors, and it's probably in my top 5 favorite Treehouse Horror movies now. So that's all for this episode of the Metal Matt Podcast. And this went on really long. This one is like an hour. That's probably the longest one I've ever recorded. But I was talking about Treehouse of Horror for quite a while, and it was really enjoyable. And that also ends MetalWeen. I'm kind of sad that it's over, because I've really had a lot of fun with this, I mean, I just loved making videos, whether they were tributes, mini episodes, Metal Matt podcasts, whatever. I just loved doing it each and every day of October. And next year, I'll probably do something like this again. I'll probably do like Rocktober, where I take a look at a lot of rock music, stuff like that every day. So I might do that next year. We'll see. And thank you to everyone who watch/listen to these episodes. Thank you to Chucky's Playground, awesome place, and thank you to everyone who watched, and just really means a lot to me. So thank you all. And so MetalWeen is over, and now it's time to get back to the regular schedule. And we're going to get back to a regular schedule on November 5th. And on November 5th, the Metal Matt Podcast will go back to its regular schedule every Wednesday and every Friday. And on November 5th, we will do the Runaways movie. And that's a movie that I really wanted to take a look at for a while. So that's one. It's going to be really good. So thank you for listening. Thank you all so very much for your feedback on MetalWeen. It was very enjoyable to do this. So thank you, and I will see you then.